Hello everyone, is Bringonthechaos Glizzy for another What If Naruto is in the Fate series and had herem. Yes, probably the girls in Fate too, maybe little sprinkles of the girls on the original series as well, in Naruto. Before we start, can you like and subscribe for more What If you wanted to request a new series and if you wanted this fanfic to have full series, please comment 3 hearts and say your fanfic that you wanted. Chapter 1, A Master Needs Servants. The Holy Grail is gone. This is after the failed retrieval mission. Bashing will be nigh invisible and I'll try to paint characters in a realistic light. No Sasuke the emo, no Sakura the banshee, no Jiraiya the neglecting perv, etc. Characters that have been bashed heavily will have a realistic reaction. Naruto will have a harem, for you people who might ask for pairings. Naruto will not be godlike, but will be as skilled as his servants that will teach him. Hiraishin Jutsu is under debate. To master a servant, Naruto needs to be able to use his servants' respective noble phantasms, and only then will he know his servants' names and stories. With that out of the way, let's start the story. Disclaimer: I don't own anything except story, which I share with Element Overlord. Chapter 1, A Master Needs Servants. Beep. A sun-kissed, spiky, blonde-haired boy lay at a hospital bed unconscious and at death's door. He had a headband, which had a blue cloth and a metal plate at the center in which an engraving of a spiral leaf was there. It was on his chest, where his battered and bruised hands covered by clean bandage wraps held it and covered it. His whiskered face marred with bruises was also covered in bandages. This is Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. He became a sacrificial vessel to hold a chakra beast of raw power. Beep. Chakra, the manifestation and combination of one's physical and spiritual energies, fuels life for every living being in the world. And for a child,
a 13-year-old to hold it inside him since birth certainly has its disadvantages. Examples like a
nearly impossible control of chakra inside the body, pariah status, and a continued feeling of imminent death were some of the disadvantages. Beep. Although he had disadvantages for being a Jinchuriki, he did manage to make some friends, or at least people he could call friends. Friends who are also hurt or on death's door as well. Beep. Friend, a word for companionship, camaraderie, and a bond of trust between two individuals. One friend chose to break, to sever, to unbind the bond he'd forged with Naruto. He chose to betray Naruto for power and revenge. Sasuke Uchiha of the nearly extinct Uchiha clan lusted for revenge because of his brother, who was the cause of the clan's near-extinct status. Uchiha were glorified for their special eyes capable of copying ninja techniques, or jutsus, and mastery over illusory techniques utilizing the eyes called Sharingan, or the copy wheel eye. He was a raven-haired boy with bangs going past the length of his chin and the back of his hair spiked upward like a bird. Traumatized from the event, Sasuke was pampered by the village of Konoha to earn his inheritance, keep his loyalty, and to manipulate him for other reasons unknown. As consequence, Sasuke became spoiled, acting as if he should have everything and anything he wants, and it was spoon-fed to him by villagers. Furthering his desire for power, corruption by the curse mark, a seal that made Sasuke drawn to power, Orochimaru, a traitor to the village, provided. It led to Sasuke running away to pursue more power. Beep. The Hokage, Tsunade, a Sannin and former teammate of Orochimaru, sent a team of rookies, which included Naruto. The members sent to retrieve Sasuke were Chunin Shikamaru Nara, Genin Kiba Inuzuka, Genin Neji Hyuga, Genin Chuji Akamaiki, and Genin Naruto Uzumaki. Sasuke did not run away without help. Orochimaru's lackeys, the Sound Four, the elite ninjas of the traitor Sanin, aided the Uchiha. The retrieval team whittled down in numbers as each member faced off with one of the Sound Four. Chuji took on a tout, burly man named Jirobo. Neji fought a man with 6 arms named Kidomaru. Kiba and his dog partner, Akamaru, fought a twin merged together in one body by the names of Sakan and Akon. Shikamaru was left to fight the last member, a genjutsu, or illusory master by the name of Tayuya. Beep. Naruto reached Sasuke, but then he found out there was one more member standing in his way to get Sasuke back. Kimimaro, a man capable of manipulating his bones as weapons, charged at Naruto. A friend of Naruto, Rock Lee, jumped in to intercept and take Naruto's place in order for Naruto to chase Sasuke. Eventually, Naruto was the only one left to apprehend Sasuke at a waterfall. A monument more like. There Naruto questioned Sasuke's motives. There, Naruto felt Sasuke's despair, hate, and desire to kill his older brother. Sasuke wanted revenge for the death of his clan, for Itachi's betrayal. Naruto fought Sasuke, trying to make him reconsider and tell Sasuke what would happen if he continued with his simple plan of gaining power. To be branded with the curse mark is to be a vessel for Orochimaru. Sasuke did not care about the consequences of his actions. He needed power to kill his brother to paint his dead clan in a better light. Unknowingly, he destroyed that idea by leaving the village. Beep. Sasuke fought with the curse mark activated, boosting his combat capabilities and power. Naruto struggled against Sasuke, but he refused to forfeit or yield because he promised a teammate to bring him back home. As such, Naruto used Kyuubi's power to even the odds. The dark, corruptive power of the curse mark against one tail of power from the chakra beast. The corruptive power evolved, turning Sasuke into what could be called a monster. His skin became darker, sclera pitch black, a 4-pointed star on the bridge of his nose, longer and purplish hair, and wings made out of humongous hands. Naruto on the other hand was shrouded in a red cloak resembling a fox. He too could be looked at as a monster, with his canines enlarged and his whisker marks becoming more defined, while his hair became spikier than before. The two stared at each other at the foot of their respective statues of Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju. The two were aiming to end it in one last attack. Sasuke formed hand signs and moved his left hand away from him, revealing black lightning emerging from his left hand. As for Naruto, he willed his chakra to be a storm, twist, turn, grind into a ball of energy in his right hand. The two leap off their position, aiming to clash at the middle of the waterfall. Beep. Naruto. Sasuke. Beep. Sasuke lived and ran away, while Naruto lay on the cold, hard ground, unconscious and badly wounded. A visible hole in his orange jumpsuit suggested he was impaled by something. It would become a scar. His teacher found him and went back to the village with Naruto on his back. Mission failure. Beep. Kyuubi sat in its cage, annoyed by its warden's incompetence to fight. All he had going for him was his shadow clones, Rasengan, and itself as a trump card. Even with its power, its warden lost, and it infuriated the beast to no end. Naruto needed a proper teacher. It did not necessarily mean a shinobi teacher, but a teacher nonetheless. It knew several teachers more than qualified to fit the resume it needed. Problem was, Naruto had to be branded. And the entity that could brand him was lost forever in the era before chakra. You are in distress, my child. An old man's voice rang around the empty, sewage halls of Kyuubi's prison. Kyuubi recognized the voice, its father, the one who separated the 9 Biju from the 10 tails, the Shinju. Old man. I need help. Kyuubi confessed as it bowed to the spectral form of a wrinkly, old man in long, white robes with a staff in his right hand as he floated on 6 black balls underneath his crossed legs. And what type of assistance do you require? The old man queried. I want him to be branded as a master. Kyuubi answered, pointing up to clarify his point that his warden needs to be more powerful. A master, you say? Quite the hefty favor you are asking for, my child. I'm only here as a last resort, and you wish to make your warden stronger. Yes. Quite the influential boy he is, if he's managed to make you care. The old man snickered as he prepared a humongous magical circle. Kyuubi was about to retort, but the old man interrupted, do you still have the artifacts? Yes. The old man snapped his fingers, he has been branded. That's it. Yes. Now ready the artifacts at the 9 circles inside. The old man ordered and the Kyuubi complied, unsealing the artifacts from its palms and placing the artifacts at the specified circles inside the magic circle. Now to call your warden for a meeting. Beep. The retrieval team looked over their fallen comrade, still in a coma. All of them were morbid, denying that Naruto could be in front of death's door, and Naruto wasn't knocking yet. Shikamaru, a lazy boy with his hair tied to resemble a pineapple, rubbed the back of his head. He was the least injured, a broken pinky for his troubles. Chuji was in the ER as did Kiba and Neji. Naruto was fine, but in a month-long coma. It's been a month now, Naruto. Wake up already. Kiba said as he sighed. The wild boy clenched his fists in anger towards Sasuke. He was at fault, the cause of this misery. Akamaru whimpered inside his master's coat. What? Are you scared of Sakura? Don't worry, she knew we did our best. She's not blaming anyone. You can wake up. Kiba vainly urged the blonde to wake up. Sakura is Naruto's teammate. She's a lively girl with a heavy punch and a powerful voice. She's also a fangirl of Sasuke's. The day Sasuke left, she begged the unconscious boy to get him home, and when the team returned battered beyond normal, Sakura wanted nothing more than to scream her heart out in despair. She didn't blame Naruto. She didn't blame anyone. It was just painful to accept that the boy she fell for out of impulse was gone, a traitor to the village, a criminal to the shinobi world. Hey guys. A feminine voice called out from the door. It's 4 in the afternoon, and you guys haven't eaten lunch yet. So we decided to bring you some. The owner of the voice was Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru and Chuji's teammate. She's a platinum blonde girl with a bang covering her right eye and a ponytail. Coming with her was Tenten Yaiba, Neji and Lee's teammate. She's a brown-haired girl with hair tied into 2 buns. After that, Hinata Hyuga, Neji's cousin and Kiba's teammate. She's a blue, short-haired girl with bangs framing her chin. The girls brought in food, barbecue, sushi, dango, salad, and a large bowl of ramen. As soon as the boys saw the bowl, they cringed in anger. Sasuke was the cause of both the despair and Naruto's condition. The girls looked on, silently cheering for the blonde boy to wake up in order to not see the saddened faces of their friends. Ino, however, took it upon herself to try and alleviate some of the stress and moody atmosphere. Come on, guys. Eat up. You lazy bastards can't get all cozy in the hospital when there's missions to do. Get your asses moving on the double. Our resident prankster won't like it that you guys are being so emotional. Reluctantly, the boys grabbed bowls and chopsticks to share the bowl of ramen. One steamy bowl was left at the nightstand beside Naruto. The girls frowned slightly because of the blatant message to wake up. They wanted Naruto to wake up too, but they don't need to be the cliché in doing so. Itadakimasu. The boys said together as saying grace. They split their chopsticks and ate their respective bowls of ramen. Beep. Ha. I'm back here again. Hey, Kyuubi. Naruto yelled, his voice echoing through the sewers. What's going on? Why am I back here? Naruto questioned as he walked to his destination. What? No back talk. That's disappointing. Hey. Answer me already. Naruto ventured the sewers, making splashes with his footsteps as he eyed the pipes in the hallways. Minutes later, he arrived at the center of the sewer maze, Naruto's destination and Kyuubi's prison. The water receded here. It was only dry ground. In front of the humongous cage was a gigantic circle with what seemed to be a giant ceiling just to. Next to the circle was an old man, floating on nothing. Took you long enough. Naruto stared at the colossal red, nine-tailed fox with proportional, rabbit-length ears. It crossed its arms underneath its chin to show its feeling of boredom. Why I wasn't dropped in front of you is a mystery in itself, fuzzball. Naruto retorted. The fox growled, not liking Naruto's nickname for him, so I'll ask again, why am I here? You're here because I'm tired of your incompetence, brat. I pulled some strings and... You pulled some strings. Interrupted an old man. Who was it that asked for this particular favor? The fox sighed in defeat. You did. That's right. Now then, Naruto Uzumaki, I'm the sage of the six paths, the man that separated the Kyuubi into 9 individual bidges. The man introduced himself as the sage, the founder of ninjutsu. Naruto eyed the man suspiciously. A ghostly, old man is in his brain. Who's to say it's a trick casted by the fox to trick him into releasing the Kyuubi from the seal? I'm here because you need teachers. Naruto fumbled at the thought. Teachers. Naruto repeated, testing how the word sounded in his mouth. Really? I was called here to meet teachers. But this is my mind. How are you going to get me teachers? The sage pointed to Naruto's left hand, with that. Wondering what he's pointing to, Naruto looked at the back of his left hand to see a red tattoo of a small spiral with 9 lines spread apart from the spiral. Naruto was baffled. When did that appear on his hand? Naruto tried to wipe the tattoo away because he thought it was paint. It didn't disappear. Naruto tried again, this time, furiously rubbing on the tattoo to try to make it disappear. He tried multiple times after that, and all ended in failure. The boy could not get rid of the mark on his left hand. It's futile, boy. You can't get rid of the mark. You are now a master, and as a master, you need servants. Ha. Master. Servant. What are you getting at, old sage? First it was teachers, now servants. Make up your mind. Naruto was definitely confused. What was the mark on his hand have to do with his so-called teachers? He would ask more, but the sage raised a hand to signal to halt of the Jinchuriki's multiple queries. All will be answered shortly, but for now, step into the center of the circle and follow my words. Reluctantly, Naruto followed the sage's orders and stepped into the center of the circle. Naruto suspiciously eyed the mysterious objects scattered evenly in a circular path. With a deep breath, Naruto recited the incantation. Let silver and steel be the essence. Let stone and the Archduke of Contracts be the foundation. Let red be the color I pay tribute to. Let rise a wall against the wind that shall fall. Let the four cardinal gates close. Let the three-forked road from the crown reaching unto the kingdom rotate. Let it be filled. Again, 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 again. Let it be filled fivefold for every turn, simply breaking asunder with every filling. Let my will create thy body and thy sword create my fate. If thou dost accede to this will and reason, answer me. I hereby swear. I will be all that is good in the eternal world. I will be the disposer of evil in the eternal world. Thou clad with the great Trinity. Come forth from the circle of restraint. Guardians of the heavenly scales. With the incantation concluded, a drop of Naruto's blood dripped onto the circle. The circle Naruto stood on glowed blinding red. Pain shot up Naruto's left hand. The tattoo was glowing in the same intensity as the light emanating from the circle below him. What was going on? The glowing stopped and the pain in Naruto's left hand subsided. The blonde clutched his hand tenderly, trying to see if it would continue to be in pain. Thankfully, he only felt his right hand's firm grasp. Naruto looked up from where his gaze set upon. He noticed there's another person here. No. There are 9 more people in here. Naruto looked at the circle underneath each person. Naruto turned to the right and still looked at what was inscribed underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The number stopped at 9 and he met the first stranger. The stranger is clad in blue cloth, but covered in intricate armor. There is a breastplate, gauntlets, and thigh armor to go with the what seemed to be a non-restricting skirt. The stranger is a warrior, no doubt. A samurai perhaps. No. The stranger looks far more regal than the average samurai. The warrior looked feminine with blonde hair tied in a bun at the back of the stranger's head and bangs slightly longer than the person's chin. The stranger stares at Naruto with calculative, green eyes and a face that held indifference. The warrior unsheathed a sword and stabbed it on the ground. To the stranger's right, is a definite man with hair as white as his sensei's. He's a giant compared to the blonde that summoned him. He wears a red crop jacket held together by a string by his collarbone. He wears a tight shirt armor that shows his sculpted figure underneath. On his waist is a buckled, red cloth resembling the coattails of a trench coat draped over his black pants littered with belt straps on the pant legs. Next to the red-clad man is a man in blue. The man has blue hair slicked upwards like grass, and 4 strands drape over his forehead while there is a long strand tied up at the back. He wears a deep ultramarine full-body tights. On his shoulders were layered pauldrons. The tights have aesthetic metallic lines over itself, but manages to not hinder wide movement. He smiled as he handled a spear over his shoulders in a hanged manner. The fourth stranger is no doubt a woman. She's a magenta-haired woman with a scar running across her delicate, yet oddly beautiful face. The next prominent features are her womanly assets possibly equal to that of Sunids in that category. She wears a brown choker, a dark pink captain's vest that does not hide her assets, white pants, and thigh-high, dark brown boots. In her hands is a pair of guns. She must be a pirate, Naruto hypothesized. The fifth is also a woman, but a kitsune Hanyu instead. She has bright pink hair like Sakura, but is tied up into pigtails and tied by a regal purple bow. In front of the bow a distinguishing pair of golden fox ears. She also has defining assets like the previous woman. Her outfit is a purple kimono with black accents and white contrast next to it. It is wrapped in a black obi. The bottom of the kimono drapes between her legs and shows the silky smooth skin at its side. Behind her, a bushy, golden fox tail wagged happily. Her arms have detached sleeves with the same color scheme as the kimono. She looked happy. Naruto saw her fiddling with a floating mirror. The sixth stranger is also a woman despite her face hidden by a hooded robe. Her golden eyes shine through the shadows cast by her hood. Naruto feels nervous seeing the woman. It's as if he is seeing death in front of him. But that can't be true, right? Naruto hoped not because he did not want to die in his head. The seventh stranger stands tall, but is fidgeting slightly. The person is covered in full-body black, metal armor. Another warrior. The warrior's armor looks more chaotic and attuned to evil than to the feminine-looking swordsman with smooth contour armor at the start. The swordsman's helmet has one horizontal slit to see through and has a long strand of blue hair connected at the back of the helmet. The swordsman also presents his sword in the same manner as the first swordsman did by stabbing it into the ground in front of him. The eighth stranger is a girl with long, flowing purple hair that split at the middle and a blue bow on the left side of her head. She's the one with an outfit that leaves little to no imagination as her nether region is only covered by a small, metal cup somehow staying on for dear life. She wears a long-collared trench coat with gigantic clamps, which hides her flat chest. She doesn't have clothing hiding her nether region, but does sport a pair of metal greaves with spiked kneecaps. She floated and stared at Naruto with slight interest. Naruto debated whether that interest was attraction or a predatory stare. Naruto wondered how she fought. The last stranger is also a woman. She's blonde with long hair tied in a braid, and her hair near her face is swept down in an almost lioness look. Her head has a visor in the shape of a M, and is securely placed on her forehead. Her armor is a pair of gauntlets and armor that covers her abdomen and hips. Her well-endowed breasts are thankfully covered in a purple shirt and a darker purple shroud, which ends at the elbows and ends at the start of the armor covering her abdomen. She wears a long, purple skirt that ends by the ankles and splits slightly to the right to show her elegant, smooth legs wrapped tightly by black stockings and sports a pair of boots with metal coverings. On her left is a leather scabbard with metal tips. The hilt of the sword showed intricate craftsmanship of the highest quality that could only come from Iron Country. Naruto had to admit despite being intimidated, and slightly attracted, by the newcomers, the strangers did look like formidable foes by shinobi standards. Still it begged the question, who are you people? The first stranger, The feminine-looking warrior stepped forward. The blonde Jinchuriki looked at the warrior with an alerted gaze. She spoke with a heavenly voice only a woman could muster and asked, "Are you our master?" She knelt, and the other strangers followed. Naruto didn't know how to answer the question. Kyuubi and the sage did say he'd become a master, but this is what they meant. His thoughts were interrupted once more with the swordsman's voice speaking once more, "I'll ask again. Are you our master?" Beep. Chapter 2, The Beginning of Au no Kage. Are you our master? The swordsman repeated. Yes. Naruto slowly answered, testing how his response sounded to the feminine swordsman. Looking closely, the blonde ninja finally thought that the warrior before him is actually female. He had doubts about it all, but Naruto figured that there's no possible way a man could be that girly without actually being a girl. Almost immediately, Naruto was bombarded with the memory of Haku, a dead ninja from Naruto's first C-rank mission that was honest to goodness a man. Before this event, Haku made Naruto's judgment skills on a person's gender destroyed. He had no confidence to figure out if a feminine boy or a masculine girl were their proper genders. The now realized swordswoman stood up from her knelt position, then the pact is forged, Master. I am Saber. She introduced herself, bowing slightly to the underage master. The others followed her example and some of them, mainly the men, bowed in respect, while the women curtsied. It looked strange to see a pirate woman and a floating girl curtsy. The man in red spoke next, I'm Archer. You look like a respectable master, so I shall aid you in any way I can. Naruto looked at the giant. He seemed respectable as well. The blonde master would note that the man before him looked quite formidable as an enemy and might be an excellent teacher. Then, seemingly in order, the strangers introduced themselves in the same order as Naruto's gaze fell on them. The spearman smirked, it's an honor meeting you, master. I'm Lancer. I do hope we get along. Lancer stabbed his spear into the ground and leaned on it. The pirate woman introduced herself, Master, I am Rider. My only hope is that we get to plunder an insurmountable number of treasure troves, and that you shall pay me a monetary reward for my services. The woman's master cringed at the declaration. Monetary reward. Blasphemy. Naruto's wallet, Gama-chan is already starving. Naruto decided that Rider would be a servant he'd rarely use due to her already greedy personality. The Kitsune Hanyu jumped for joy, cheering, nice to meet you, Master. I am Tama. I mean I'm Caster. I can tell you have a very pure heart and have the purest of intentions, so we'll get along just fine. Her smile became plastered onto her face, and it threatened to split her face in half. Naruto didn't need to pay attention to the floating mirror. It was flying wildly around Caster with no exact destination. The hooded woman was next. She called herself, Assassin, Master. I'm called Assassin. Naruto looked closer into Assassin's hood. Nothing hid her flawless face except the shadows that shrouded Assassin's hidden visage. She didn't speak any more than that and waited for Naruto to move on to the next servant. The armor-clad black swordsman gurgled a jumbled sentence. Naruto assumed that the man was trying to restrain himself. Is it because he can't control his anger? Naruto didn't know for sure, but what he did know was that the swordsman was trying to maintain his sanity. The swordsman growled out, Brr. Circa. Mast. The ninja master slightly flinched at the hint of Berserker's true rage, but quickly recovered to nod in respect at the warrior for trying to not cut his master in half. The floating exhibitionist, what else could Naruto call her? Said, I'm alter ego. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance, master. She chuckled lightly, and it was absolutely harmless. Though Naruto felt his spine tingle fearfully. Something was just off about her. Maybe it's because she has that predatory grin like the proctor in the exam. What was her name? Anko. Naruto dismissed the thought and moved on to the last stranger. It is an honor to be thy servant, master, said the swordswoman. She, like the blue swordswoman, had an aura of superiority, gracefulness, and power. I am ruler. She bowed to her master eloquently. What is it with these armored swordsmen acting so regal and polite? Naruto bowed back, albeit nervously. Nice to meet you all. Or don't be scared, brat. These are you teachers. Kyuubi sounded happy, yet the beast's face hadn't changed at all, nor did it move from its position of its head crossed over its arms. Naruto was conflicted about how to react to that. Yeah, I'm getting mixed signals from you, fuzzball. These are my teachers. Says the fox that didn't change facial expressions at least a tiny bit. Naruto waved his arms outward to emphasize his point. Never mind, the ninja had a snarky remark to recite after all. Hey. I wouldn't be doing this if you had been a better ninja. Kyuubi roared from his cage. You've seen my childhood, right? Yes. Then you should know the reason why I'm such a terrible ninja. No proper teachers, no proper guidance, and no way to get stronger because of that. The volume of Naruto's voice elevated to a yell. Oh, cry me a river. Kyuubi replied, not caring. Hey. Saber interrupted, placing a hand on Naruto's left shoulder. Master, I would not suggest angering an entity of raw power. Saber's right, you know, the sage stated, still floating. My child is quite, what's the word, difficult when angered. You got that right. Naruto muttered. What was that, brat? Kyuubi growled, care to run by that me again? The Jinchuriki stiffened, and nothing. Kyuubi may be behind bars, but even a beast can instill fear while inside its cage. The fox snorted in satisfaction. Its job of scaring its warden in even the slightest bit was successful. That's what I thought. Now, let's talk about your teacher's servants. I've given you the liberty to master my chakra if you can master each servant's greatest weapon in the order given. You start with saber, then archer, lancer, rider, caster, assassin, berserker, alter ego, and finally ruler. Once you've mastered their respective ultimate weapons, you will gain control over a tail of power. Naruto restated Kyuubi's statement to clarify the beast's words, so I master saber, I get full mastery of one tail. I master archer, I get full mastery of two tails. That's exactly what it means, young one. The sage answered, Kyuubi here has graciously given you the tools to be mastered. It's your choice whether to gain full control of Kyuubi or not. Naruto looked down to the ground. He was trying to comprehend what was happening. So he now has servants, who he has to master, to not go berserk when going into any tailed mode. However, there was something bugging the blonde that he had to ask, why? Why allow me to master you when all you've wanted was to take over my body? What's with the sudden gesture of kindness, which is nice by the way of throwing away your pride to give me your power on a silver platter? Don't get the wrong idea here, brat. You are such a disgrace as a shinobi that I'm giving you the opportunity to be a warrior worthy to be in the history books. What, like a hero? Don't be absurd, fuzzball. I'm planning to be Hokage. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not planning on being a ninja with the destiny to save the world. That's just stupid. Naruto never caught the sage's imperceptible frown. The old man knew the boy was lying. Kyuubi was furious, and because of that, he didn't see the lie. It slammed its paws on the ground, showing its rage over Naruto's opinion. You'll waste my generous gift to be just a Hokage that won't be famous for anything. The sage interrupted once more. Young man, the fourth Hokage is someone you idolize, correct? Yeah. I've looked into your memories, not the extremely personal ones, the relevant ones. The fourth Hokage was a hero in the Third Ninja War and a hero for saving the village. You wanted to be a hero, a Hokage because of the fourth Hokage. What changed, young man? Naruto stiffened on the spot. Saber noted her master's sudden rigid form. Then that rigid torso of her master started shivering. Whether out of terror or anger, she'd find out shortly. How can I be called Hokage or a hero for that matter if I can't even save a friend? Naruto yelled at the sage. You mean that lost cause? Kyuubi asked in anger. Shut up, fuzzball. He's a friend I deeply care about. He's an abomination. A monster that doesn't deserve to live anymore. You take that back. Naruto demanded. The beast ignored the order, snorting at the boy's attempt to assert control over it. The fox was about to retort when... Silence. Naruto and Kyuubi looked at the sage, who looked bewildered by the source of the sound. It clicked to the arguing two that the voice was feminine in origin. They decided to look at the one who might have been able to produce a shout like that, Saber. Though the woman the arguing duo suspected looked shocked as well. Somehow the men in the room stiffened. Even Berserker wasn't fidgeting a tiny bit. Master, you're being very difficult. Caster stepped in front of Naruto. Kyuubi has given you the greatest of gifts it could offer, and you look for fault within the gift you received. Are you telling me you don't want us? All the servants stiffened at Caster's accusation. The young master saw tears well up in Caster's eyes and felt terrible for making the Hanyu almost cry. Naruto sighed deeply. Caster, that's not it. I just feel like I don't deserve you all or Kyuubi's generosity. Kyuubi's right, I'm a sorry excuse of a shinobi. No you're not. Caster said, trying to cheer her master, you just haven't been taught correctly. That's why we're here. Saber remembered something after hearing Caster's statement, how are we here anyway? The Holy Grail was destroyed. She turned to the floating sage for answers. It's quite simple really, Saber. The sage replied, I'm a sort of god in this era. The Magi of the past died out with the previous era. The era of shinobi rose with the discovery of chakra and ninchu, the non-violent version of ninjutsu people would have used had they not corrupted it. The sage's rage didn't need to be expressed with words. His rage physically cracked the walls of the sewer mindscape, but that's another story for another time. Being one of the first users of chakra gave me power to bend reality, and when I read about the Holy Grail wars of your era, how heroes of old were summoned to fight, I tested it and it worked. The main difference was that prana was replaced with chakra. Saber, archer, lancer, rider, caster, assassin, berserker, alter ego, ruler, you all are running simply on the massive supply of chakra your master is providing. That certainly was a shock for the servants. The 13-year-old shinobi was fueling them. Granted, they were summoned with a beast of pure power and a so-called god of the era. The sage started to fade away, and Kyubi panicked, "Old man. Now, my child. You already know I'm dead. Why act surprised?" The sage was very nonchalant about the event. Naruto guessed that being dead doesn't surprise anyone anymore. Naruto, Kyubi thought you deserved to master all its tales, when the previous Jinchurikis weren't adequate enough to be given such an honor. What? I'd love to tell you more, but I've overstayed my welcome. Farewell, young one. The sage ended on the high note before fading into the sewage background. I know what you're going to ask, kid. You're not going to know about my previous hosts until later. You've already been bombarded with too many things already. Who were your previous hosts? Naruto asked, not caring about the other events that transpired literally minutes ago. What's so special about me? What distinguishes me from your other hosts? What did I do to deserve your trust? You wouldn't even give me the light of day when I first stumbled into this place, but now you want me to fully master your power. What gives? I've had enough of your ramblings for today, brat. Just get out of here. Kyubi's left paw reached out to the blonde warden. Naruto took a cautious step back, which proved to be useless when he was flicked by the gargantuan index finger of the beast. The blonde master faded away into golden sparkles. Caster turned to the fox demon. That wasn't very nice. HMPH, he was pissing me off. That doesn't mean you could just flick him back into consciousness. Caster retorted in annoyance. The other servants were watching the conversation with slight awe and terror that the Hanyu looked very nonchalant conversing with the colossal beast. In the real world. Gah! Naruto's eyes went wide open. He gasped for air. Damn fuzzball and its stupid wake-up calls. He sat upright from his bed and inspected himself. I'm like a mummy. Naruto ripped him off and tossed him on the ground. He was already healed of skin-deep injuries. The boy went and got off his bed and inspected the night sky from the window. Then the familiar scent of his favorite food entered the blonde's nostrils. He snapped to the general direction of the scent and saw the bowl at the nightstand. He grabbed the bowl and a card beside it. Wake up already, from the guys. Thanks, guys. Naruto wasn't sure who these guys were, but he had an idea that it must be Kiba, Shikamaru, Neji, and Chuji. Time to eat. Naruto snapped the chopsticks that sat next to the bowl and took his first taste. Ugh, it's cold, but cold ramen is better than waiting for 3 minutes to heat this ramen of the North Pole. Naruto quickly devoured the bowl of sweet nectar of the gods and plopped the bowl back on the nightstand. Ah, that hits the spot. The blonde patted his stomach. It was quite satisfying despite the cold, bland flavor it gave. He guessed that he was just really hungry. Naruto sat on his bed as he looked at the bright, full moon. There, he wondered about what happened in his head. 9 servants who teach him combat. There were possibly 3 or 4 swordsmen there, 1 spearman, 1 gunner, 1 combat seal master possibly, 1 taijutsu specialist, and 1 stealth master. Naruto shivered at the thought. If he'd master Kyubi by that time, then only the strongest of the strong could force Naruto's hand to use Kyubi's power. He looked at his mark. What is this anyway? That is a command spell. It's a mark that shows you're our master. It will only disappear when you've used an order one of us has to obey. Though since you summoned 9 servants than the usual one, I wonder if it sticks with the usual 3 orders before disappearing. Saber. Yes, Master. Huh, so this is that thing with the, whatchamacallit, telepathy. No, Master. Then what is it? Simply put, we can communicate with you, and your mind receives the message. Oh, Naruto wonderfully croaked out. That conversation died out quickly. Oh, I doubt that, Master. A man's elated voice echoed inside Naruto's head. Lancer. The one and only. He answered gleefully, say, Master, are there any cute girls in this era? Before Naruto could answer the question, another voice interrupts him. Lancer. Stop wagging your tail. Another man's voice entered the conversation. He was the source of the interruption. The voice was gruff and deep, yet not like Berserker's struggling voice. Naruto deduced that it must be Archer. Hey. Did you just imply that I am a dog? Lance's rage boiled instantly. Archer, don't insult Lancer. Saber, why not? Archer, it's not good to insult a fellow servant. It's bad enough he's the punching bag in Carnival Phantasm. Caster scolded the giant red-clad man. How do you know about that? Archer asked the furry servant. Other potential servants get to watch the war. Lancer always seemed to be the casualty though. Caster seemed downcast as she said that. Ha. That was the best part, Caster. A female voice, Ryder, entered the fray. It was quite entertaining seeing the dog you squirm in that barrel. The condescending voice of alter ego ironically pierced Lance's ego. Gil. Gamish. Not. Honor, able. Berserker chipped in as he remembered one tragic event for Lancer within that particular war. Gilgamesh enacted a crude way in eliminating you, Lancer. The second to last voice, Assassin, commented. Don't remind me. Lancer screamed, damn you, Gilgamesh. Naruto laughed a bit at the casual conversation, argument going on inside his head. He wondered who Gilgamesh was, though it quickly went away like a breeze. The servants seemed to be fairly likable people. Maybe he could give them a shot. He was given the opportunity to fully master Kyuubi's power. He should take the chance. Master. Yes, ruler, is it? Yes, master. She answered, about thy doubts, I can only say that if thou art to become a leader, thou must expect betrayal, loss, and insubordination. Losing a friend that has been blinded by revenge and a lust of power is a friend thou cannot hope to save. It is best to. No, ruler. I won't give up just yet. Sasuke is still redeemable. He can change. He needs just one push to see that he's done wrong. Then if thou doth succeed, master, what doth thou think will happen to Sasuke, the traitor of thy village? What can thou say for thy friend when thou doth bring him back from thy battle? I agree that he is redeemable for now, but he must die if he refuses to return. No. I can't agree to that. Naruto yelled at ruler, Sasuke's still my friend. I can convince him to come back. The servants did not say anything for minutes, just to prove you wrong, I'm going to get stronger. I'll get stronger to be on par with Sasuke. I'll get stronger so we can see eye to eye. I'll get stronger so I can convince him to come home. Why doth thou wish to see him come back? Ruler asked curiously. Because I made a promise. And Naruto Uzumaki doesn't break promises. Naruto confidently answered, Saber. Let's start with my lessons now. Master, you should rest first. You just woke up from your injuries. Injuries that healed, Naruto corrected. His gaze went down to the small message his friends wrote. Wake up already, sounds like he's been unconscious for quite a while. Saber, please, I need to do this. Understood, Master. Please provide us with a battleground then. A battleground, you say? Naruto sneaked out of the hospital perfectly. With the aid of Assassin, Naruto's escape became flawless. Even with the easy-to-spot orange jumpsuit Naruto wore, no shinobi could spot him because he was slightly out of the shinobi's range of sight or sensory field. Naruto hid in alleyways, sprinted through the plaza, sneaked past the Hokage mansion, and reached his destination, Team 7's training ground. Is this a good place to learn, Saber-sensei? Yes. This is adequate enough, Master. Saber replied as she materialized from thin air. Saber handed her master a wooded sword. Archer requested I go easy on you by using wooden swords. A shame really, I'd like to see you wield a proper blade rather than a toy. Naruto sweet-rocked at Saber's remorseless statement, but fundamentals are important, Master. Naruto stood straight in alert, his wooden sword positioned in front of him and poised to attack. Yes. Show me what you're capable of. Yes, sensei. Naruto complied, rushing forward to close the gap between him and her. Saber brought out a wooden sword as well and positioned herself to test her young master. Meanwhile, inside Naruto's head, Kyuubi was looking through Naruto's memories of pain, suffering, and loneliness.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like this video if you want some more what if video. Comment 3 hearts for more what if.